everyone, welcome to another YA Wednesday with the Hall County Library System. I'm Miss Ashley. This is my daughter Lexani. Today we are going to show you guys how to do a couple of really easy and fun photo projects. So with these we are actually going to use paper printed photos rather than the normal photos, just because you're probably not able to go out and pick up photos that you might have printed, or you know, you already have some printed out on paper. So we are going to show you how to make a photo canvas. So this is one that has already been done, and then we are going to show you how to make a transfer photo onto wood. So we have not done this one yet. We are going to see how it turns out. So that's also printed paper. And then we are going to attempt to do a coaster. So we are going to go ahead and start with the canvas print. We are going to do a 4x6. So this we already have. You can pick these up at the Dollar Tree. If you already have some at home, you can do any size that you want, as long as you have a canvas that size. So this one is a 4x6. It is a stretched canvas. They also make them in ones that are not stretched, so they're thinner. I have not attempted to make one on the thinner ones. So we'll go ahead and get this opened up. Now all you need for this project is, all right, Lex, there you go. So all that you need for this project is just some Mod Podge. I use the matte Mod Podge. You'll need that, and then you will need a foam brush. And I believe I have done this with a regular paintbrush also. So, you could do either one. If you have the foam brush, you can use the foam brush. If you don't, then you can try the other one. So all you are going to do is take your photo and line it up with your canvas. Now you might have to trim edges on it. If it's too big, you might have to trim the edges. These are kind of okay. Now what you're gonna do is go ahead and take your canvas and then take your brush and your Mod Podge and go ahead and cover that canvas with your Mod Podge. Make sure you get a good bit on there so that your photo adheres to it. Now on these other ones that I've done, these were actually done with regular photos printed on photo paper, but these are projects that I have already completed. So now I do want to show you this one as well, because if you didn't want to do it to cover the whole canvas, you could take a larger canvas with a smaller photo inside, and then you can paint these canvases any color that you want. Go ahead and, so Lex is going to go ahead now that she has the Mod Podge on there, and she's going to line the photo up. You want to make sure that you get it on there really good so that your photo does not come off. All right, and make sure you press it down. It's a little different working with the photo paper than the regular printer paper that we're using, so it makes it a little different, but it is possible. Go ahead and make sure that you smooth and press down, so you want to get out any air bubbles that are hanging around in there. Now with the painting of this, you can choose any color that you want to do. With this one we chose a teal, and then you've got a bright pop of color against that black and white photo that is on there. With this one, since this one was a black and white photo, we went ahead and painted the canvas black, and you're going to paint that all the way around so that your edges are nice and even. So for the one we're doing for you today, we are not going to paint that. If she wants to paint it later, then she can go ahead and do it later if she wants to paint the edges. So now you're going to take your foam brush again, and you're just going to make even strokes and cover the whole photo. That's going to give it that canvas look. It's a clear, it looks white when you paint it on, but it is going to turn clear. You want to make sure that you cover all of the areas, and we're just going to let it dry for a second, and then you'll go back and you'll put another coat on there. And this is a little different for us because we have not yet attempted it with the printer paper. So, you know, you might get some air bubbles in there. And that's okay, because it's just a fun little photo project for you to do. You can always take from the back. Don't press too hard on the canvas material in the back, but you can press a little bit from the back and kind of try to get your picture to stick to it a little bit more to get some of those air bubbles out. All right, Lex, that one's dry. Go ahead and swipe you on another coat. It dries pretty fast, but not to the point where you could just like rub it or, you know, touch it or whatever, because you're gonna mess up your canvas and have some fingerprints in there. So give it, you know, a couple minutes to dry, and then do your second coat on there. Make sure, you know, that you get a good bit of Mod Podge on your brush. That way you're not just rubbing off your image, especially with the paper, because it will rip if it gets too wet. All right, so we're going to set this one aside and let it dry. Now, for the photo transfer, I'm going to go ahead and move these away. For the photo transfer to wood, it's kind of the same process to begin with. You want to take an unfinished piece of wood. These are ones that we already had, so they're odd shapes. Again, these came from the Dollar Tree. They're odd shapes, so the photos that we have are not necessarily going to fit on them, but we've trimmed this photo to work with the top edge and the bottom edge, and then she can always add words or things on the side if she wants to do that. So for this one, you are going to take your Mod Podge, and I'm going to use this brush for this one. This is also printed on photo paper. So you're going to cover the whole front of your photo with the Mod Podge. Again, this one is using matte. You can use a different Mod Podge, and I think it's I can't remember what it's called. It's a transfer, I think. And it'll make the background a little bit different. This one is probably going to have some wood grain coming through, which is absolutely fine because I'm okay with that. So you want to get a good coat on to your photo of the Mod Podge. Let me get a really good thick coat. And then you are going to flip your photo up there. You're going to flip your photo upside down and line it up on the edge. Since we're doing it this way, we want to get it right on that edge. And then you want to press down very firmly so that you get it stuck on there really good. And then from that point, you're going to rub it because you want to get out any air bubbles that might be in there. Now you can take a credit card, you can take, I can take this coaster here and give it a good rub and get out any of those air bubbles. You don't want to do it too hard because again, that paper is now wet from the Mod Podge, so you don't want to get any tears in there. Now this needs to dry for a couple of hours at least so that it can get completely dry. If you're making a super important project, I would have let it dry overnight before you attempt the next part. If you're just doing a fun, fast thing, give it a couple of hours to dry. So we're gonna sit this one aside so that it can be drying. There are a few little air bubbles in there, but I think it's gonna be okay once we get in there. So you wanna press smoothly. So we're gonna set that one aside and let it dry. We do have another one that is already almost dried that we will finish the process with on this one. So now for the coaster. We just have a ratty old coaster that we've had forever. So I thought, maybe we could do something with that coaster. Now for this one, we are gonna again use the Mod Podge to attach the photo, but we have some glossy accents. I have used this on a little washer project that we did once before. So what happens is it's gonna make, sorry, I'm dropping the photo. It's gonna make a glossy coat over the top, almost like a bubble. So we're gonna go ahead and attach the photo on to the coaster. You can use, now you can do like a wooden coaster. You can do a transfer of it the way that we are doing the wood transfer there. You can Mod Podge a photo onto a coaster and leave it at that. But this, since this one has like a round little edge, like a dip in it, we're gonna try to do the glossy accents over the top. Okay. Hold on to that for me. So with this, you don't want to shake this up because it's going to get air bubbles in it if you shake it. So just kind of give it a little thing like this. Okay, so once you get your photo glued on with the Mod Podge, then you are going to take your glossy accents, and it's going to be a little difficult here, probably because this is such a big area. But just go ahead and start filling that in. You're going to fill in the whole coaster, because again, it's going to make like a bubble around it. This may take just a minute to get that done. That's also going to look a little cloudy when you're doing it, but it is going to dry clear. You guys probably can't see from there, but we've got the whole top of the coaster filled in with the glossy accents, and that's going to give it that clear bubble. So I'm going to lay this down and let it start to dry. There. Okay, so we are going to attempt to do the photo transfer now. So you want to take a damp sponge or rag. So we have a washcloth here, and you're going to do one section at a time. I'm making a mess here. It's a little more than damp. So you want to rub it gently, one section at a time. You don't want to rub the image off, but you want to get all the fuzzy paper off that's left. So work very gently, one section at a time. You don't want to rub so hard that you're going to take the image off of your wood. but you want it to get all of the extra paper that's on there. So just keep working very gently, one section at a time. When you get that section, go ahead and move on to the others. Now be sure when you do this, because when you put it on the wood, it is reversing your image, so make sure that you're okay with that image being reversed on the photo that you choose. And just keep working. You can see here the image is starting to come through there in the wood. So you're just going to keep working on that until you have all the backing off of your image. Again, don't rub too hard. You don't want to pull it completely off of the wood. Now when you're finished doing this and you've got all the white little fuzzies off from the paper, if you want, you can sand the edges of your photo. If you have some sandpaper handy, you could sand the edges of your photo to make it look more authentic, that it's actually on the wood. I actually do not have any sandpaper here at all, so we're not going to sand the edges of these. You might be able to use an emery board. It might be a little too rough, but you know, you could try. If you have an emery board, you might be able to try. Yeah, that's the not the metal ones, but the other ones. So like a nail file, if you don't know what an emery board is. So we're gonna keep working on this and get it all off here. The image is coming through very nicely there in the corner. You can see it's coming up. Okay, so we have it finished with the wood transfer. So you guys can see that the image has come through. Now I did go ahead and get a little more rough on the edges of the photo just because I don't have any of the sandpaper, so I did rub a little harder on the edges to kind of blend them out. So there are still a little bit of fuzzies on there, but for the most part it worked really well. This one has only been drying for a couple of hours, so make sure if you're going to give it for a gift or it's a big project for you, I would let it dry overnight before you start the process of the rubbing. And then we have the coaster. So it's not completely dry yet, but it is well on its way. So it turned out really nice. I'm actually glad about this one because we just had that coaster laying around and it was ratty, so we thought, why not? And then the canvas turned out really nice also. It is a little different than if you use regular photo paper, but all in all it worked really well. And she might decide that she wants to go back and paint the edges of that one, and she can do that later if she wants to. If you're going to paint the edges of yours, I would suggest painting the whole thing before you lay your photo down on it. So this one, the photo goes facing out when you apply it. This one, you need to make sure that the photo goes facing down. So you're going to apply the Mod Podge to the outside of the photo and then flip it so that it's facing down on the wood, because that's where your transfer is going to come from. So those are the photo projects that we have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you will try some at home, and we will see you guys next time.